Shalom, family. It's good to see you all here. Just going to update you. We all know about the invasion that has already happened on the Ukraine. Now, Putin said he was waiting for the Olympics to end. The Olympics ended on Sunday. He invaded on Monday. I mean, this man told you what he was going to do. Remember the Olympics were going on and he kept, he said, he was waiting for the Olympics to end. Well, he went the day after. The everybody should have left out of China, right? So he didn't waste no time. He went in there the very next day after it was over. So some interesting news have come out, y'all. Very interesting. Now, first, when the market opened, the stock market, it dropped immediately, because of the invasion. Now, there are some things you better look out for. We are still in that pandemic, and America is looking for any reason to raise prices. They're already talking about raising the oil prices, y'all. They're going to use this war to justify raising prices even more in America. You watch. Oh, there's conflict over there. you know, you know, these people will make up any reason just so they can jack up a price, right? So we're going to go over just some information I was able to find out recently. Let me share my screen with you. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Okay. Thank you. All right, let's get to this first article. All right, so this came out in Forbes, ladies and gentlemen. You will understand why the US sent all of that military aid over to the Ukraine. The reason why they did is because their ammunition is depleted. They got plenty of artillery around their country, but they don't have ammo. But listen, Russia and the US are also struggling with ammunition, but they're not as bad off as the Ukraine. The Ukraine is, I mean, it's bad for them. So, I mean, it's so bad. Even Russia knows that they have ammo problems. Before they went in there, they knew. And Russia was saying they could take them down in 10 seconds. And damn, 10 seconds. So, but that's what they were saying. But ammunition, in fact, I started doing videos on ammunition shortage in this country. And that was probably like back in 2021. So that's why we kept hearing about all this equipment going over to the Ukraine and military aid. And you heard about the tanks and all kinds of things going over there. They need help. They need help. We know they're not going to defeat Russia. We already know this. I mean, come on, look at Ukraine and then you look at Russia. There's no way. But I guess they're trying to at least make them so that they're not totally helpless in the whole thing by sending them all that equipment. And they said also they're trying to get the US military ready to rescue people out of there. Okay, they're going to go in there and they're going to attempt to rescue people. And I was looking at a video, it was probably last week, and it was showing all of these residents in the Ukraine getting their ammunition and weapons together, the residents, you know. But I think Russia is just way too powerful for them. You know, they may be struggling with ammo, but they're not doing as bad as the Ukraine. So Russia is already talking about building military bases on the east side of the Ukraine. They're in there now. So I'm sure they'll do it. They already got bases on the west side of the country, and they got bases in Crimea. So now they got an opportunity to put some on the east side of the Ukraine. So man, they are not wasting time. And they did not all go in there, ladies and gentlemen, in one direction. They went in different regions around the country. That's what Putin wanted them to do. So it's going to be interesting over these next few weeks to see how bad this gets, because the US and Biden and them are talking about more harsher sanctions, you know. And you, to be honest with you, I don't think Putin gives a rat's behind about any US sanctions. If he was really afraid of the West, I don't think he would have budged from that border. The fact that they went in there yesterday and didn't even flinch at the fact that Europe and the US were saying they were going to hit them with more sanctions, they didn't even bat an eye. They went right on in there. They're right in there. Well, Christopher Clipper, that's not their only ally. China's their ally too. China is the ally of Russia. So don't be surprised if the coming weeks come and you hear about China supplying Russia with weapons that they need. Don't be shocked. I would not be surprised by it at all. But we know these wars must happen, y'all. They must happen before this whole thing is over. We are near the end. Thank you, HD, for the super sticker. We are near the end, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what I did last night when I heard Russia went in there? I said, I got two very large bottles of wine that I stored. And I said, if something happens, I'm going to pull this bottle of wine out and I'm going to drink. And it happened. I went down there and I had to look around. I almost forgot where I put my big bottles of wine. But I found them. I found them. But look, this is going to happen. We knew this was coming. We talking about this, those of us in the truth, weren't we talking about this even 10 years ago? Something jumping off, and this very thing could start World War III, you know? So I'm sure it's going to be a very dramatic next few weeks for real, you know? Mhm. But damn, I didn't know the Ukraine was that bad off with ammunition. I mean, if you got artillery and you don't have ammo, you have no way of defending yourself. How are you going to defend yourself? But we'll see how America will somehow end up in the middle of this thing. You know, haven't heard much from NATO. You know, I'm going to have to go look at the foreign news because, you know, US news is not going to show much of anything. Yes, Tifa Kang, I was just talking about the US stock market, how it plummeted. It did not just plummet here, it also plummeted in Europe. It also plummeted in Asia. So it's down all over. It's globally down. Well, Esau's world is going to end the exact way it began. in violence. That's how it's going to end for them too. It's going to be a very violent ending. And also, ladies and gentlemen, don't be surprised if there are cyber attacks coming on as well. You know, Russians are well known for their cyber attacks. So, there may be, websites you want to access and you may not have access to it because they do a lot of cyber attacks, them and even China. China does a lot of them too. So don't be surprised now that they, through all those sanctions, the US and Europe, through all those sanctions on Russia, that they will be stepping up the cyber attacks. Hmm. Yeah. China will attack Taiwan too. Yeah. I mean, until forever, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. But yeah, this thing is, you know, I was listening to what Biden throwing more sanctions and this is not a good thing. And I was like, I doubt if Putin is even paying attention to Joe Biden. I'm serious. I don't think he really is. I don't think he cares about the leadership over here. In fact, I don't even think anybody cares about the US at all at this point. I really don't. The world ain't even listening to the US anymore. They said they can't rely on the US. Look how bad they've done with the pandemic, y'all. They have done so bad. It's embarrassing for them to even come out and profess how intelligent they are. They're only embarrassing themselves at this point. Yeah, they were already under sanctions, Jurors 93, but they claim they put harsher sanctions on them. That's what they're claiming here in the US. But apparently, making those threats did not stop Putin from going in there. Flora Turner, thank you so much for the super sticker. Mhm. So they are in there. If you pull up the news articles, that's all they're talking about, how Russia is now in the Ukraine. So they are in. Hmm. So, as everything start escalating, I will keep you updated. Yeah, I heard about Europe was trying to cut off Russian gas, but they said they heavily depend on that Russian gas. They really can't technically cut it off. So if they cut it off, it would be huge problems for the citizens all around Europe accessing gas for their cars, you know? So I don't know. I don't think they're going to cut off Russian gas because that pipeline, from what I understand, it really takes care of damn near all of Europe. Radi King, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Lisa, do you think something could spill over onto our soil? You never know. Look, Rondi, that submarine that was off the East Coast, they didn't even pick it up on radar. And that right there should tell you how easy it is for them to come from Russia or fly over to the US and not even be detected. I mean, they did it with the submarine and they weren't even detected. So that tells me it probably would be easy for them to come over here. And by the time the US realize something is going on, it'll probably be too late. I got a real bad feeling about this and this party so focused on getting us involved. Yeah, well, Randy King, they have always gotten us involved in every single conflict in this country. They could not win one single war without us. And that's a fact. Whether they like it or not, it is a fact. They cannot win wars without the help of Black men and women. Unfortunately, there's still way too many of our people in the military. So, that's why I am focused on these stories, because whether you like it or not, and I know some people, we need to talk about reparations. We still got family. I do, that's still in the military. Some people come from damn near everybody in your families in the military. That's how intertwined we are in with the military. Okay. So, as much as you want to ignore it, it can't be fully ignored, especially if they're going to start sending your brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, your cousins, your aunt, your uncles over there. We're still in the military. Now, I'm not in the military, but I got several members in my family that are in the military. So I would love not to pay attention to this, but I can't. I can't. I have to pay attention to it, even if I don't like it. So far, I have not heard about any of my family going, but over the next coming weeks, that certainly can change, you know? Yes, there are many veterans in my family. I had a cousin named Stanley. Stanley was an assistant general, and he worked up at the Pentagon all the way up into the time he finally passed on. But he worked at the Pentagon. And on the day that 9/11 happened, luckily he did not go to work that day. So he was safe. He didn't go to work, but he was working at the Pentagon when 9/11 happened. So, I wish I could say none of my family's in the military, but I don't have the luxury of saying that, ladies and gentlemen. I don't. I don't. So he went in on Monday. Okay. He went in there on Monday, the very next day after the Olympics, which ended on Sunday. All right. Yes, True Royal. Yep. Today is 2/2 2/2. Yeah, I mean, this war is going to spark all kinds of problems. Look, y'all, we already got a supply chain problem in the country. I think the war is only going to make it worse. So, probably like around Friday, I'm going to do a basic intro on gardening. I'm not going to get heavily into it because it can be overwhelming, but really all you need is the basics to do gardening. So we'll talk about that on Friday. I'll set up a live stream. So look, even if you can't do nothing but grow one plant, just do that. Do you know you can get 30 pounds of tomatoes just from one plant? Do you know you can get over 100 chili peppers just from one plant? You can get sometimes 2 and 300 chili peppers from one plant, depending on what variety you get. Do you know collard greens can even grow in the winter? Okay, so we're going to talk about some of that stuff. And some of you, I'm sure, are going to be more advanced than others. And that's a good thing. But for those that are not really into it yet, we really need to keep things basic, because I believe if you make it too overwhelming, people may be afraid to do it. So I don't want anybody to be afraid to garden. Like I said, if you want, just get one plant, get two, get three. Lettuce, tomatoes, you can have a fresh salad every single day. If you Lettuce is probably the most carefree thing you can grow. You virtually don't have to do too much of nothing beyond watering lettuce. That stuff will just keep growing all summer long. So we'll go over that, and that way you can start getting your seeds and your roots and everything that grow the things that you like to eat. You know, that's all you need. Just get the things you like to eat and start from there. And then the following year, you can start building the garden out even more. So you may start with a few vegetables this year, but next year you may add more and more until you just got a nice full scale garden that you can literally eat out of. So, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and conclude this live stream. I want to thank all of you for being here. Thank you, Black Cobra Ninja 5, for the super chat. You said Taiwan supplies America's computer chips. China definitely wants to flex on that country. Yes. And I think eventually they will. You're right about that. And Delmonte Green Beans, thank you for the super chat. I was in the chow hall. I just got to active duty service. Then a plane hits the second building. Wow. Everybody just dropped spoons, forks, knives. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, I bet you did. No, that sounds crazy. That sounds absolutely crazy, but I'm glad you're safe. Mhm. Yeah, I just anticipate it's gonna be a very bumpy week for America, and don't lose sight, we're there this country is still dealing with a lot of issues with, that thing we can't speak about. That's not gonna go away because you're fighting with Putin over in the Ukraine. It's not gonna go away. So, everybody, please enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll definitely come back to do this again. And don't miss my guilty verdict for the hate crime charges for the McMichaels and Brian. They were found guilty. So I got that coming out on a premiere. So I want to see you all there. So I will see you there. Please set the reminder if you have to, because that is a good thing. Those monsters will never see the light of day, and that makes me feel good. Now, some people are saying, well, Roddy can parole, but that man is already up in age. Okay. He ain't going to be the same person in 20 years. He's not. He's not going to be the same person. You don't know what shape he's going to be in. That man could have dementia and be physically falling apart by then. You don't know that. So I will see you later on my premiere, ladies and gentlemen. Shalom, family.